And outside the country, weeks into the administration of United States President Joe Biden, several policies targeted at making life more meaningful for the African diaspora community. The president is doing away with some policies of former President Donald Trump's administration. Now, one of such is the last administration's immigration policies. Ensuring the U.S. government and U.S. Foreign Service reflect the rich composition of the American citizenry, including African diaspora professionals, the administration will continue the Young African Leaders Initiative and deepening America's commitment to engage with Africa's dynamic young leaders. And bringing decades of foreign policy experience and a demonstrated commitment to Africa, President Biden will renew the United States' mutually respectful engagement toward Africa with a bold strategy that reaffirms the commitment to supporting democratic institutions on the continent, advancing lasting peace and security, promoting economic growth, trade and investment, and supporting sustainable development. The policy analyst Nweke joins me live from Belgium. He joins me via Skype to talk more on the foreign policies of the U.S. president, especially as it relates with Africa. Good to have you join us, Nweke. Just days ago, before the 34th session of the 34th summit of the African Union, the president of the United States, Joe Biden, released a remark in advance, a video remark in advance. And he said that, I just want to quote some of the things he said, that he spotlighted promoting democracy and human rights, peace and security, trade and investment in Africa as some sort of policy direction of his administration. How critical is this when you compare it with the former administration of President Trump? The
statement that Joe Biden, the President of the United States, to the AU Summit 2021 in Addis Ababa is very, very significant for a number of reasons. Top in the reasons is the fact that actually that statement was his first address to an international setting, to an international organization. And these things are usually thought through. There are no coincidences. So it happened because Africa, is very close to his heart as far as, policy of his administration is concerned. Now, before then, you also consider the fact that, one out of the 13 executive orders that he signed, hours after being sworn in as president, was to repeal the Muslim majority ban. So essentially, there are very strong signals that Joe Biden actually takes Africa seriously, that he is, desirous to rebuild a partnership with Africa within the global community. Of course, in the end, how Africa responds to this will actually matter a great deal. But yes,
and I just want to, again, just allow me quickly butt in. I just want to quickly focus on something you said, because I don't want to lose it. You said how African leaders respond, or how Africa responds, is critical. And I was listening to the foreign minister of Iran, Javad Zarif, who said that, look, America must allow the solutions or the challenges of the Middle East come from the Middle East. Should that be the approach to Africa as well, where, the United States must allow the solutions to the challenges in Africa also come from Africa?
There is always a very wide margin between theory and practice. The African idiosyncrasies are quite different from those of the Middle East or the Far East. So Iran may have, that sort of sentiment, and frankly speaking, such sentiment is essentially saying, leave us with our problems, don't tell us where we go wrong, and let us solve our problems. I'm afraid that Africa shouldn't adopt the same, the same system, the same approach. Now, we live in a globalized world, and where there is abuse of human rights in one country, it affects situations in other countries. For example, if you have dictatorship in Africa, say Gambia, Sudan, or Nigeria, that produces, refugees or economic migrants, they end up in some of these Western countries. Mediating, working with African governments, civil society organizations, actually help to prevent these conflicts and ensure that young Africans stay in Africa because of creating opportunities for them right there in Africa. So I'm afraid, no, it doesn't cut wood with Africa.
So some of the issues highlighted at the African Union Summit, 34th African Union Summit, also sort of fits in conveniently with some of the issues highlighted by President Biden during that video remark. And finally, at that video remark, he said, "I hope I can be with you next time in person." If he were to visit Africa, what significance would that hold for the continent?
Well, it creates a very serious impetus for quite a number of things that actually border in the policy choices that Biden has already highlighted, trade and investment, excuse me, but also strengthening the institutions of democracy. So, which means, for example, ensuring. To be specific with Nigeria, if Nigeria needs some help, which they obviously do, to make voting more efficient, make it possible that when people vote, their vote count through electronic voting and all of that, they could facilitate such democratic institutions. And so when they come, when he visits Africa, he's visiting with a whole lot of goodwill, and then Africans, because he will be traveling with business people as well, so African business people will seize the opportunity to begin to close deal. Don't forget, when Mark Zuckerberg visited Nigeria, it was that visit actually ignited hundreds of billions of business transactions in the tech industry. So the same will happen with Biden.
All right, so let's look at the fact that he's willing to partner with African CDC. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Economies have been battered by this. Public health security is at stake. How can, beyond vaccines, how can America partner with Africa in terms of curbing this pandemic in the African continent?
I'm happy you raised this issue because just less than 24 hours ago, I was having a conversation with someone regarding, specifically the European Union that actually formed this vaccine alliance. The goal is to ensure that vaccine is equitably available to every country of the world, notwithstanding how rich or how poor they are. Now there are reasons for delays to happen in Africa. The fact that Biden has made that statement in terms of joining the COVAX alliance to ensure that Africans are vaccinated as well, it also means that they will join the global alliance that the European Union set up. They will be able to contribute to the fund, and they will as well help to provide the infrastructure needed to store the vaccine in Africa, or at least facilitate investment in that direction, because that appears to be causing a whole lot of problems.
Thank you so much for your thought as always. Global Affairs Analyst Collins Nweke, thanks for talking to us.
My pleasure. Thank you.